All right, guys. So, just a disclaimer about this video. It's probably going to be long, and also, it is not my intention to sow the cause of disunity. That is not my intention at all. Okay? It's not my intention. First and foremost, I don't consider myself a scholar. I still consider myself a student of knowledge. I still consider myself someone who just basically has taken, I want to say, is head first, knee deep when it comes to the Islamic sciences and their respective, you know, methodology and going about obtaining those sciences. Now, one thing I want to give a disclaimer about, and this maybe possibly could be because of my ancestry, this possibly could be because of my tribe just running through my veins. But, one of the gross, before I start and go on this video, one of the gross misconceptions that a lot of people have is that, for example, Fulanis, for example, were just going around enslaving other Africans and doing these kind of, you know, vicious things, or that Muslims in general were going around just enslaving non Muslim Africans. But really, in reality, it was a response mechanism to being enslaved, you know. It's not that they just woke up one day and said, okay, it's time to like raid, you know. And it was also the response to the ongoing, European presence in Africa and the demand for, unfortunately, human cargo. However, when you look at the figures of Usman Danfodio, Rahmatullah alayh, the individual which I get my minhaj from, when you look at the individual such as Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, when you look at the individual such as El Haj Umar Tal, when you look at the individual such as Ahmadou Lobo, they all, in essence, fought against corrupt Muslim regimes. That's the thing. It wasn't like they were just going around invading pagan kingdoms. They were going around going to Muslim kingdoms who were in cahoots with pagans, for the most part, or going to kingdoms which were still practicing paganism. So I just want to give that disclaimer out. And how it relates to me is what I'm going to be saying and sharing is, I know it sounds bad, but essentially it's me going against one group of Muslims while exposing the cohesiveness with another group of Muslims. Now, when it comes to the issue of slavery in Islam, which I want to start with, is that the word abid or the word abid in the from a Quranic standpoint was always described to use as every kind of living thing. You know what I mean? It was not necessarily used to differentiate someone based on their color. That came later. Okay? That came later. Number two, there is no Quranic text and also no Sahih Hadith which sanction slavery. And most of the time, the Quran and the Hadith are pro emancipation. Okay? How Islamic slavery came to be I'll give the steps. War, right? Because when you go on conquest, you know, due to the rules of engagement, you're going to, of course, conquer people, and you're not supposed to kill the women, children, or old people, irrespective of gender, right? On top of that, those people, if they decided they wanted to convert to Islam, technically they had to be freed in terms of the Islamic, from the Islamic standpoint. Now, if they weren't freed, okay, in essence, they were house help or supposed to be house help. And if they were toiling the field, you were along there with them, toiling the field. If they saved up enough money, they could buy their freedom. They can become freedmen. In fact, when you look at the old texts of the prophetic tradition, you don't even find that word abid in there for the most part. You find mola, which means like client. You know, that's what that means. For the most part, that's what you find. Now, another thing I want to say about this issue is that, again, slavery was there because of wartime, and most of the time it was because non-Muslims got enslaved. Now, in terms of, and then I'm going to move on to the next part after this. Now, in terms of the gender and the race, where that became important, pre-Islamic Arabia, there were all types of different genders of slaves and races. There were male slaves, there were female slaves, there were slaves who were African, there were slaves who were Roman, there were even Arab slaves at that time. Okay? Now, this perceived anti-blackness that they say Islam has, that a lot of Pan-Africanists and, you know, these hoteps say it has, is not anti-blackness. It was based on the status of a person, basically. And the status of that time for a lot of Africans was like a lowly status, you know. But then with Islam, they got elevated. You know, Bilal, I think, became a governor of Damascus, Syria. Okay? Bilal climbed on top of the Kaaba. There were many black-skinned Arabs as well. Okay? So even when I think Abu Dhar, one of the companions of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam, he is described as dark skinned. And so what happened was uh, he said to Bilal, Ya ibn Sauda, which means, O son of a black woman. Now, granted, you know, he could have said something like, he could have called him an abid. You know, he could have used that word, but he didn't. But he separated his mom due to the fact that she was a lowly black woman, and his dad was a Yemeni, but I don't know if he was of slave origin or not. I really don't know. I got to research that. but it had nothing to do with the fact that he was a former slave. Otherwise, he would have said something about that. Abu Darda would have said something about that, right? But he didn't. Now, the race-based slavery happened. I want to say when Hellen, I forgot the word, like Hellenistic or something like that. When European, Christian, and Byzantine ideas started to creep in Islam as the Islamic territory started opening up, you know, because nothing in the Quran or Hadiths advocate for it. And the thing is, unfortunately, with the Hadiths, um, there is a lot of daif narrations, weak narrations, because someone was trying to reach a political goal at the time, which is why you had a lot of daif narrations of the hadiths. Now, another thing that needs to be said about this issue, yeah, is the simple fact that when it comes to where Islam went in its decline and where people started going off of going off of the customs of the society, even when the society was not following great customs, is when Muawiyah took power. Okay, that's when, for example, capturing slaves came into play, right? That's when I guess you can say that a sense of Arab supremacy came into play. That's when monarchy came into play, when Muawiyah took power. Okay. In addition to that, though, you had Byzantine ideas coming in to the fold of Islam, like um let me see uh the Curse of Ham. Those ideas started creeping in. However, there were always scholars who refuted those claims about the Curse of Ham. There were always scholars that said, nah, this is Daif. You have North African scholars who did it, and you also have our great guy, Ahmed Baba, Rahmatullah alayh, who actually refuted it too. In addition to this, Ahmed Baba wrote a treatise about how it is illegal to enslave Muslims, okay, other Muslims, based on skin color and things like that, or other Muslims in general. However, not everybody followed that, not everybody followed that route. A lot of people did not follow that route, okay, and they still enslaved people based on racial prejudices, and they tried to justify their racial prejudices based on, like, I guess you can say from a legal standpoint. But even from the legal standpoint, you'll find that most legal schools of thought push towards emancipation, including Imam Malik. But that's another video in itself. So what am I getting at? I'm going to talk about my part of Africa and how it pertains today with our cousins in another part of Africa versus another part of Africa who has the same kind of superiority complex and disdain towards us for our perceived features. Now, the thing is about Morocco and the Maghreb in general is that yes, there was slavery. As a matter of fact, a lot of the monarchs of the Maghreb, including Moulay Idris, came from black mothers. But they they emphasized the Arab father. Okay, that's what they did, right? So, as crazy as it sounds, a guy like Moulay Idris, who did a lot of crazy stuff, by the way, trusted African, black African soldiers. So, a lot of the time, there were black African soldiers in the south of the Sahara, and there were also black Africans that were conscripted. Okay. A lot of the black Africans who were conscripted or who just volunteered to join that army, probably because of war booty, they went, they went across to Spain as well. That's why you had, like, for example, the Spanish word is Almoravid. The Arab word is Almorabitun. You had Berbers, yes, but you also had a contingent of West Africans, because what happened earlier is that a Berber went down to West Africa because his people were not adhering to the message that he was trying to give them, and he found more disciples in that area. Okay. I think his name was like Abu Bakr something. I forgot. Rahmatullah alayh. Now, another thing is, I'm not going to sit here and deny it, but women, okay, and Islam has some strict dialogue on concubines. Okay, a lot of these guys liked black concubines, but it also needs to be said that it goes the other way around too. Okay, you have West Africans who had Turkish servitude and even Syrian servitude. Okay, me and my friend have a joke, actually. I'm like, yo, that means in North Africa there may be some West African grape babies. You know what I mean? But I say this to say this, that most of the anti blackness that you see in the Maghreb does come from, histories of, like, I guess you can say, marginalization and what have you. But most of the time, people are integrated now, and the West Africans who, could possibly be descendants are, like, now, like, pretty much integrated. One guy in Morocco by the name of Hassan Hakmoun, may Allah preserve him, is a world star, you know, due to a genre of music called Ganawa, which is basically black musicians, you know. Now, these Ganawa musicians, some of them outright deny the claims that they were just drug up to North Africa through the Sahara. Some say that, again, they were conscripted soldiers and they went to go fight. And they were of different various groups. You have Fulanis, you had Hausas, you have Mandinkas, and they were from very differentiating regions of West Africa. Okay. Um, you even had the episode, unfortunately, the unfortunate episode that Morocco actually invaded Timbuktu and trying to get control of the gold. But what happened was is that they didn't even actually get control of the gold. You had a guy named Askia Nuhu, Rahmatullah alayh, who kept on pushing them back in different battles to keep them from the gold. Okay? But unfortunately, the best scholar of Timbuktu, Ahmed Baba, who is a black man, was brought to Morocco, and he taught a lot of people there. Okay. In fact, students came from all over North Africa and said, all we hear about is you. So that was his erudition, you know, was the fact that this black man was teaching this quote unquote uh, Arab slash Berber, you know, the sciences of the Islam. So the reason why I'm saying this is because in the regions of Libya, in the regions of I won't include Tunisia because they're kind of like they're too French at this point. In the regions of like Libya, in the regions of um, Algeria, in the regions of Morocco, you can say that the black population has, in essence, become indigenous, like indigenous people at this time. Now, um, what I want to say is that even in Libya under Gaddafi, you have black colonels, you have black brigadier generals. Some of them spoke still their fluent West African languages. Okay. Some of them still spoke fluent Hausa. Some of them still had their local dialects, but they were being promoted, moved in the army. Now, the reason why I say this is because even when you look at the cuisine and the tangines and the soups and the stews, they're similar to what we have going on in West Africa. Morocco decided to even sign an Atlantic agreement with the Sahel states, okay? So the trade routes, even, we've had this history with each other. So I know I'm being drawn out, but what the reason why I'm saying this, and this is basically to mostly appeal to my fellow West African brethren, is the fact that we have more cohesiveness with North Africans than we do with East Africans. Now, again, I'm not trying to sow discord or anything like that, but the East Africans that you come across on like Clubhouse, the ones on TikTok, and sometimes even and a lot of times in real life too, um, have a contempt for you due to your featureism, due to the fact that maybe you have a big nose, due to the fact that you have a certain texture of hair. Now, they have that word jarir, which is used as an insult to you based on your hair texture. They also have a word called danier, which means monkey in their language. And they also have the word adon, which means slave in their language. But they also use the word abid in their language to refer to you. Now, as crazy as that sounds, right? When they go to these Gulf countries, when they go to these like these you know be it Saudi Arabia or something like that, and their maids or something like that, they get treated with the same contempt that they give us, but worse, way worse, right? um Now, the funny thing is, this is funny. If you go to Saudi Arabia, right, you will see more descendants of West African pilgrims who are doing, like, having real estate, having, like, just enterprising, being doctors and things like that. You'll see that. You'll have Malian descendants who have just completely integrated. You'll have just different ones who have completely came in, and a lot of times some of them still have their passports from their country of origin. Like for example, I know a sprinter. Shout outs to Abdullah. He's a sprinter. Okay, for Saudi Arabia, he still has his a Nigerian passport. You know, a lot of these guys still have like Nigerian passports and stuff like that. You know, or you know, just West African from their respective country, and they've gained mobility. I know a Bonarwi. I know a Bonarwi. So that this Bonarwi, who is most likely from Borno State in Nigeria, he has property, Saudi Arabia. I think he even has some commercial buildings, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, the same East African, be it like especially like a Somali who's calling you these names, is not having the same success. Okay. Um Now I don't know how this started, but someone told me that basically they were being bullied in the UK, and they decided that, hey, you know, we have it out for all of the West Africans and all of the Caribbean people. Okay. Now, in terms of the Ethiopian side of things, they will call you, I think, Baria. Yeah, Baria. Like they'll call you a slave, you know? And now, while Ethiopia presents itself as a beacon of quote unquote Pan Africanism, it's not really that. You know, as a matter of fact, Ethiopia is just an expansionist territory that that basically wants to annex more territory. You know, that's what it wants to do. You know, I've been called all types of bad names on here by them, but I really don't care. You know, I just understand that, hey, this is what comes with the territory. When you, like, for example, um, when you know who you are, for one, and number two, when you have no shame from where you're coming from, because where you're coming from is doing things that are awesome, like kicking out the French, like trying to become self-sufficient, like trying to basically stop relying on others. You have no shame. You know, you're proud of that. You're happy. You know, and then although you come from one of the most hated tribes, you're thankful that you come from a tribe that is you know, is distinguished for Islamic scholarship, you know, but still a tribe that will tell you that we're all children of Adam, you know. They will still tell you that, you know. Now, um the so what I'm saying is that even in what back to the Moroccan thing, you have a lot of Moroccan, like not only West African descendants in Morocco who have since made their way there, but you have people who are just there on studies. You have West African students, for example. Um, you have, excuse me, just give me 1 second. Okay. So, for example, you have Ivorians, Nigerians, Senegalese who are doing school in Morocco, right? Now, the thing is about that is that I was talking to a Moroccan and he's like, yeah, most of the students who excel are um are West Africans who excel in the different academics. He told me that. He's like, yeah, you guys are usually on the top of your classes, you know. Now, also in Casablanca, you have a significant Senegalese population that is there. The Grand Mosque in Dakar was built by a Moroccan. So what I'm trying to get at is this cultural cohesion has always been there between us. Okay. Now, even when you look at a mosque in Maiduguri, yeah, Maiduguri in North Nigeria, Moroccan style. Okay. So what I'm trying to get at is that um, due to this cultural familiarity, you are going to be it. And I'm not saying this in a fetishization way. I think that was the mistake that some West Africans made is they fetishized like Ethiopian women and Somali women. I think that was the biggest mistake that a lot of West African my fellow West African brothers made is they fetishized them. You know, they should have never did that. But what I'm trying to say is that it would be easier for you to find your way in West Africa or to marry among those people because you do have a black population, but you also have a population that is in between, mixed population, all types of things going on, right? Versus, you know, the Ethiopians versus the Somalians who are pretty much like who I don't fault if since they want to marry themselves, that's fine. Marry yourself, but don't bash us because of your perceived featureisms that you guys have. You know, we're all right. You know, we have options, you know, and we're not and the thing is, I want to clarify something. By no means are us West Africans jealous of them or do by no means do us West Africans want to be them. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to be them. You know, I have not heard someone say, "Okay, I want to be them." You know, nobody has said that. No, nobody has actually said that. Um, and the thing is, we kind of already done what they're trying to do. You know, when we've done what they have done already, and we've been doing it. And I'm gonna just show you that right there. The Senegalese brother, he has his Moroccan woman. Okay. Um, let's look at another one. And this is by no means a contest or anything like that, but the reason why I'm doing this is just basically based off of the fact that they have all this vitriol for us, right? For us West Africans, and yet, you know, we're just getting on with our life. You know what I mean? We're just getting on with it. But they have so much vitriol for us. And I'm not by any means playing victim, okay? I'm just telling it how it is because it's a social issue. You know, this is a social issue that happens in the masajid and everything like that. Okay. So here's another one. Hold on. Give me a minute. Uh, so there goes the West African brother. He's with his Moroccan wife. Okay. This was a while back, but as you see, you know, he has his Moroccan wife. I'll show one more. Hold on. Okay. You have this brother right here who you see would be considered a Jarir by the or a Baria by the East Africans. He has his parents. One is from Ivory Coast, which is his father, and then he has his mother, which is Moroccan. There is proof to this by all of his flags in his bio. Okay. Now, I want to show one more thing and then end this video, okay?
This question is, which country has the ugliest people?
Somalians. They're just disgusting. Sorry.
Listen, yeah. Why did you pick Somalians?
Because they got like long necks and like, I don't know.
Well, violating.
Not even.
Then which country has the penguins people?
I'm probably curly. I just like dark.
What nationality has the ugliest boys?
Somalians.
Somalians,
Yeah.
damn, Bobby.
Yes, Somalians.
Cool, what makes you
Nah, it's like the forehead.
Okay, the forehead.
Yeah.
What makes you say Somalians?
It's just like,
Their forehead, is that what you say?
I just wouldn't like go for them.
You find them least attractive?
Yeah.
Cool, let's just leave it there before this escalates. Cool, well, you said Somalians as well.
Yeah, because their forehead's too big.
Question, what nationality has the ugliest boys?
Somalia.
Somalians?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Why, what makes you say Somalians?
They've got that one forehead.
Damn! So is it because they got big heads and big foreheads? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
the hairline's fucked up as well.
Helen.
Yeah, and
Damn.
normally like they don't have like the body and they have small dicks and everything.
Small dick. Oh, damn. What makes you say small dicks though? Like, what's going on? Yo.
They're ugly, just allow it. Like,
This question is, which
So also, if you look at the comment section, right, you will see that they do leave this comment behind. Abid, hold on just a minute, let me see it. So yeah, he left the comment behind Abid, and you see it right there. So these people actually have this vitriol for West Africans. Now, on the flip side, though, you have this. Hold on. Just give me a minute. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find it and then I'm going to end this video. I've been going on for a long time. This video is going on for a long time. Just give me a minute. Hold on just a minute. Hold on, just give me a minute.
An inexplicable feeling in the world. Some say Nigerians are the world's most hated people. Others say Nigerians are the world's most interesting and loving people. There are gazillions of opinions about Nigerians out there. Sometimes it's even hard to keep count. But have you ever wondered what it feels like to be a Nigerian? Well, sit back and relax as I share with you some testimonies and experiences that describe the unique condiments of being a Nigerian. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this content. Thank you. Confidence. Being a Nigerian is to ooze confidence. The level of confidence an average Nigerian carries, if in watts, can almost power a whole country. You can see it in their walk and their talk. Even foreigners attest to that.
A Nigerian man, if he comes
Most sought after. to being a Nigerian is to know you are the most sought after in the dating pool. Check this out.
Country has the best looking guys.
I would say probably Nigeria.
Nigeria, you like your black men?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nigeria.
Nigeria! Again!
Which Asian race is the best in bed?
Nigerians.
No, they're not Asian.
Oh wait.
What is your top 3 best looking nationalities when it comes to guys?
Nigerians.
Ooh, straight away, no thinking. You just knew.
No thinking.
Okay, Nigerians.
Doesn't matter the tribe.
I know you might wonder what is so...
So, although Nigerians get a bad reputation, you know, my interactions with them have been nothing but cordial. You know, maybe we relate and have the same ideas about Africa and, you know, what we want to see in the future, which is probably why our interactions have been good. And we're in the same field. So, that alone should tell you that the average West African man is not really worried about what they say, but I'm just putting this out there that your chances at like a good cohesive relationship, if you do opt out, you know, some, you know, North Africans have made their way to West Africa and have settled, you know, granted. But what I'm trying to say is you have a better chance than those who are just hopping on the train right now. And with that being said, sorry I was long-winded. Fulu signing out. Njaram.